God's grace can empower you to do the impossible. Like things that you would never be able to do in your own strength. God's grace does that. Grace is biblically defined as unmerited favor, right? So that's why you see people, and like say for example, somebody you knew from the past and you see them do something. They're a Christian, they're serving God, and you see them doing something that you never thought they would be able to do. That's God's grace doing that. God's grace is something that you can't earn. So it's a gift to you, and in his favor, it's a gift to you, and he empowers you to do things that you would normally not be able to do in your own strength or under normal circumstances. Okay, that includes gifts where, like, the gifts that your gifts that he's going to use for you to serve others, and you're like, God, how am I going to do this? His grace. Certain suffering and trials and things, and then certain people look back and they're like, I don't know how I made it. God's grace. Grace does that. Grace empowers you to do things that you would not be able to normally do in your own strength. So if God has you in something and you're looking ahead like, how am I going to fit? How am I going to do this? Or he's giving you instructions to go into something and you're nervous about it. God's grace is going to sustain you. It's going to keep you. It's going to empower you. It's going to enable you to do what it is he's asking you to do. He will not ask you to do something and not give you the grace to go forward and continue and finish. Okay? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and tell a lie and say everything gonna be roses all the time and stuff like that. No, there'll be times where there's frustration, there's anger without sin. There's frustration, there's anger, there's just, times where you just, stuff gets heavy and you're going to feel a certain type of way, but that does not mean the grace is not there. It just means you're just going through something at that moment with this, which is completely normal in your walk. And that's a part of it. There are going to be things that don't feel good. God's grace. Okay. There are going to be times of uncertainty or wondering how you're going to, do certain things he's asked you to do. Grace, 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 grace. Just remember grace. God's grace can do it. I'm going to drop the scripture tied to this message. Meditate on that scripture. That's where the Apostle Paul said, in my weakness, God's power can be shown. My weakness shows God's power. Grace, basically, is what he's speaking of. He's speaking of grace. My weakness shows how powerful God is, because I wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing, Apostle Paul says, if it had not been for God's grace, his power, okay, in me, working in me to do this thing. All right, take care.